After sending all my love, I somehow found myself back here again. The sea as always says nothing, only watches me with quiet waves. Somewhere beyond the tide, I see the place where you once smiled. My pockets are empty and my heart has shed its layers. I just walked, no one pointed the way, but as always, it was the sea I ended up at. Though it's over, some feelings never truly leave. In the wind that pushes gently from this shifting season. After sending love away, I came back to that sea, like footprints left in the sand. All that remains are stories fading soon, but standing here again, those moments return with the tide. The wind blows in from far away, and I close my eyes for a while, neither sad nor happy. My heart begins to resemble the sea. I wonder, did you ever come back here too? I tried not to leave anything behind, but somehow that left deeper traces. Love left, and I remained, remembering the sea again. Even after love was gone, I'm still walking through the thought of you. just watch the sea and that silence. It was the deepest conversation we ever had.
At the end of the coastal road, where I walk thinking of you, I stood hesitating outside a tiny store, then walked out with a small bottle without a word. I headed to the sea's edge to sit on the breakwater. Wind blew wild, seagulls circled low, crying in the air. I pulled out a paper cup, poured in the drink, took a sip, and said nothing as I swallowed. The me from that day was smiling. The me now was quiet. The waves, as if to swallow both of us at once, rose and crashed over the breakwater, tilting the glass. I looked into who I was that day. Your gaze, your voice, everything brushed past again, like the wind beside me in this single drink. Longing crosses back and forth, my hair blown loose, my skirt soaked through. Still I sat, bracing myself on the breakwater, leaning on no one but the past we shared. I recall the me from that night, eyes shining, voice trembling. The word love sat trembling at the edge of my lips. Tonight, here, I drink it all, tilting the glass. I let all of that day flow out. The waves still rage, my heart still wavers, and yet again I swallow a sip that tastes like you. Waves crash against the breakwater, and there I sit alone. I the seagulls scattered, frantic in flight.
The sea has grown quiet. Once it was full of lovers' whispers. Now only the waves speak their own language. Sunlight spreads faintly over the empty sand. I walk barefoot through the sand, wondering if any laughter remains, if I might step on even a trace. The waves give no reply, they only whisper to me, you are alone now. The sea knows well where love has left. It speaks not in words, but in the spaces where something once lived. The autumn sea's words are silent but deep. They seep quietly into the furthest corners of my heart, a comfort unspoken by anyone. The sea today is offering it to me. Once we were here too, under the sun, laughing with the rhythm of the waves. It was short and that made it shine brighter. Now the sea holds all of that. I asked the sea, why were you silent back then? The sea answered slowly, it was that quiet that made the love feel deeper. The autumn sea's words carry the scent of someone gone, scenes that won't fade, scatter at the end of each wave. I gaze out over the water, and still today I listen to what it has to say. The sea remains quiet, but within it 1,000 words rise and fall. I listen closely, open my heart, and this autumn, as the sea speaks to me, I swallow the words in silence and quietly close my eyes. Autumn is the season for people like me to come to the sea, a season to quietly revisit the loves that I've already left, and the sea, without a word, welcomes them all again. Today the sea holds no color, no gray, no blue, nothing remains in this empty landscape. The islands seem to drift closer, while the sea looked like it was slipping away. Somehow I understood that feeling is farewell, a familiar scene, even to the sea. How many final moments have touched these shores, only to be covered again and again? Oh, sea grown accustomed to loneliness, inside your silence must be layers of web sorrow. Maybe that's why your waves are neither warm nor cold, they simply resemble me. When I who've lost my words gazed at the waves with an empty mind, the sea took one step closer, and there at my soaked feet a small thought flickered that maybe I felt a little less alone, even if only for a moment. Between all that drifts away and all that tries to come near, I was always swaying, but the sea stayed still. Even while I trembled, it remained unchanged. Oh, sea grown accustomed to loneliness, you offered no comfort, you turned away from nothing, you simply stayed, and in that way took a little piece of my sorrow. Today the sea was quieter than ever, and in that quiet I left my heart for just a while to rest. I walked a lot today without saying a word, just following the waves, letting my gaze drift with the clouds. If someone had asked, I might have simply said I just wanted to walk. The sand beneath my feet was damp, and the sunlight had turned a shade of orange. A couple passed by laughing briefly, their joy brushed past me then faded. I returned to the rhythm of my own steps. The sunset sank slowly lower, and at its edge the sea lay down quietly. As the sun dipped beneath the waves, my heart too began to fall still. Walking along with the sunset, I realized the day had already slipped away. Without a word, so much had passed me by, and of it all I held on to nothing, just the sea and the sunset for a little while. The soles of my feet began to ache. Sand had gathered inside my shoes, but I
didn't stop. I don't know why, I just felt like walking until the darkness arrived, until the sunset disappeared. The sunset said nothing, but it touched my heart with its light instead. And I received it as if sipping something warm, letting it fill me slowly, walking along with the sunset. The sky and the sea had become one blur. The footsteps of others faded behind, and I walked quietly with only my shadow. Then at some point, even the sunset disappeared, and night arrived. I tucked the last light of the day into a corner of my heart and gently came to a stop.
What does the seagull sing? Cutting through the wind, drifting between sea and sky. With its small body, what does it remember? What is it trying to convey? I've watched this sea for a long time, through stormy days and still ones. Waves crashing like anger, or resting in complete silence. And above it all, the seagull kept flying. When the sea had too many voices, the seagull stayed quiet. When the sea said nothing at all, the seagull cried out. What was it replacing with that cry? What does the seagull sing? I still ask myself. The waves collapse, the clouds drift on, and somewhere between them, a cry rises toward the sky. For whom is it sung? When my heart was most at peace, that cry came from far away, as if it had started inside me like a language only silence could understand. The seagull never called to me, but in its voice I heard my own. Its sound was the face of every sea I had crossed, and now the door to my stillness. What does the seagull sing from the closest place to my heart? Its cry never wavered, clearer than any spoken word. It touched something in me, so once again I ask, what does the seagull sing beneath the seagull's wings? The sea takes a quiet breath. Its voice doesn't fade, it simply sinks deeper into the silence within me. always in the same place. No matter how many waves broke, no matter how many seasons changed, it never left its post. It was always there and always the same. I walked the same road over and over, or so I wanted to believe. But on that road I repeated the same mistakes, regretted the same regrets, and fell in love as if for the first time again. Human beings are made of repetition, and I was proof. Everything I believed to be new was only something long repeated. The sea always remains in the same place, but I was always leaving for somewhere. I was more familiar with departing than with staying. I wasn't someone who remained, I was someone who repeated. After walking for so long, I stood again before the sea, and I wanted to ask, why don't you change? Why don't you tremble like I do? But the sea only moves softly without an answer. Now I understand, to repeat the same mistake is a kind of rebirth in the cycles I once cursed. I was changing slowly, almost invisibly. The sea always remained in the same place, and I passed by it again and again, learning a little more of myself each time. Will I one day be able to stay in one place, remain as oneself? Today the sea was the same as ever, and once again I stood before it, revisiting who I was, even if I never touch it, even if I only look from afar. The sea always remains in the same place. The dawn air brushes against my cheek, cold yet somehow kind. I pause to watch the last wave and let out a light breath. Then I turn my steps. The sea still remains in its place. I come carrying many feelings and leave behind even more. The sea must already know, even without a word. Now I choose not to hold on, but to let go. It is the sea I longed for, and the heart I wandered through. Yet even longing itself now quietly settles down, leaving the autumn sea. I do not look back, the stillness that stayed there, and the traces of myself left behind. I leave them all and walk on, carrying the sea within me. On the road ahead, sunlight begins to spread gently. I pull my collar close and feel the edge of the season. It is now a time when I no longer need to ask. The sea teaches me that letting go may be a greater love than staying. And so I comfort myself once again. Leaving the autumn sea, I quietly grow older. Everything remains the same, only my heart has changed a little. And I feel grateful for that. The last breath of wind pushes gently at my back. Without a word, I pass the sea, I pass the season, and quietly walk toward the next meet. The autumn sea is wide, endlessly embracing, quietly holding me close. All of that wistful tenderness resembles you. Even without words, the sea takes in the waves of my heart. Sorrow, longing, all are gently swayed within, and in that stillness I see you. Resemblance is not in the eyes or the face, but in the texture of the love I carried with every season passing by. The sea grows closer to your form. The autumn sea resembles you, a deep and quiet breath. The warmth and stillness that surround me. Here before the sea, I call your name, and that name becomes the song of the waves. Far off the horizon burns red. The sea gathers the light in its arms. Within it I realize love never disappears. Its shape may change, but within that vastness it still lives. Resemblance is not repetition, but a deepening the sea has kept. The shadow of you, and within it I meet you again. The autumn still resembles you, a wolf without words, like waves that endlessly return. Within it I still feel you. The sea remains in its place today
slowly walk toward the next path.